Hi, my name is Danny Masterson. Would you like to touch my balls?
After actor Danny Masterson would grow himself into a household name thanks to his performance as the lovable goofball Steven Hyde on That 70s Show, well, he'd find himself starring in his newest role as an inmate of the California penal system, having been found guilty of assaulting multiple women nearly 20 years ago. But before his entire life would go up in smoke, well, this longtime actor was born Daniel Masterson on March 13th, 1976 in New York's Long Island. Now, there his mother Carol, well, she worked as a talent manager, while his father Peter, well, he held a career as an insurance agent. And with his mom already having her foot in the door of the entertainment industry, well, by the time Danny was 4, he was already modeling, and once he was a teenager, well, he had appeared in over 100 commercials for brands like Hardee's, Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, Hostess, Tang, and Clearasil. Let's take a look. But Danny isn't the only infamous offspring Carol and Peter would produce. There was his brother Christopher Masterson, who also became well known a few years later for his role as Francis on Malcolm in the Middle. Now, it's not entirely clear when his parents split, but at some point, well, Carol, she would remarry a man named Joe Reaiche. Now, he's a former Australian rugby player. Now, they then had 2 more kids who would also have careers in show business. There was Alanna and Jordan Masterson. Now, the former of whom would star in The Walking Dead, while the latter would co-star in the sitcom Last Man Standing. At the age of 2, well, Danny, he made his own acting debut in an episode of the television series titled Jake and the Fat Man. Then in 1993, well, he earned a recurring role in 11 episodes of Joe's life before booking a 2-episode guest stint on Roseanne. Now, after also appearing on the big screen in Beethoven's Second, well, Danny would book his breakout role in 1998 when he first appeared on the hit television show That 70s Show, which he would go on to star on for over 200 episodes, and he would even receive 2 Teen Choice Award nominations as well. Now, he's appeared in a number of projects since, including teaming up with Ashton Kutcher once more to star in Netflix's The Ranch. But, well, none of his other work, it would be as notable as his role as Steven Hyde. Well, that's because Danny Masterson, he would become notorious for something much darker than the comedy we first came to know him by when he was accused of sexually assaulting multiple women. Now, these accusations have not only brought a full stop to Danny Masterson's career, but they also landed him in prison, and they stem from when he was at the peak of his popularity in the early 2000s, and he's still appearing weekly on television sets all over North America. In March of 2017, well, 4 women, they came forward to claim that Danny Masterson, he had assaulted them while visiting his home. Now, a 5th woman, she would come forward by the end of the year, claiming that she too was repeatedly attacked by the man. Now, 3 of those 5 victims were Scientologists, the same church that Danny has been a part of since he was a child. Now, less than 1 year after the women came forward, well, Masterson was charged with 3 counts of sexual assault. Now, the reason he wasn't charged with 5 counts is because 2 of the women's cases, well, they had insufficient evidence and statutes of limitations. Now, when Danny Masterson's trial finally began in 2022, well, we found out the horrific details when it came to exactly what he had done, as all 3 women bravely took the stand and they recounted these, well, just sick crimes. Now, one of the women that came forward was Christina Bixler, who testified that she and Danny, well, they had been going out for more than 4 years when she woke up one morning in 2001 at his Hollywood Hills home to find him having sex with her. Now, she insists that she told him to stop, but he wouldn't, so she pulled his hair, which broke a rule he had about touching his face. Now, in response, well, he slapped her, spit on her, and he called her white trash as she finally left. Now, that wasn't all he'd do to her, however. The actual allegations that Christina would charge Danny with, well, they came from 2003 when she woke up in pain one morning. She was bleeding after a night out at a Los Angeles restaurant. Now, when she asked Danny what had happened, well, he laughed and told her that he had had sex with her while she was unconscious. Now, a little while later, well, Masterson, he gave her a sweet tasting red colored beverage in a tumbler, which she began to drink. Now, Masterson then tried to get her into his jacuzzi, and he threw her in fully dressed when she failed to do so on her own. Now, soon afterwards, well, she started feeling woozy and having difficult staying upright. Now, Masterson took it upon himself to bring her to the washroom to help her clean up and induced vomiting by sticking his fingers down her throat. Next, he put her in the shower, which is where he first initiated sex. Now, afterwards, he took her to the bedroom, and despite her protests, well, he continued to abuse abuse her. Now, the final of the three women to take the stand against Masterson, well, she went by the name of N. Trout. Now, after meeting Danny a few nights earlier, well, he began texting her and demanding that she come to his house, preferably naked. Now, she eventually agreed to visit after setting conditions and boundaries, and when she arrived, well, Masterson, he handed her a glass of red wine. Now, not all that long after perpetrating these crimes, well, Danny would meet his future wife, Bijou Phillips, in 2005 at a celebrity pack poker tournament held out in Vegas. Now, Phillips, she tried asking Danny for advice, but he more or less ignored her while everyone else around the table, well, they were flirting with her. Well, that made her even more attracted to Danny, and in 2011, well, the two, they actually got married. And 3 years later, well, their daughter was born. Now, little did Danny know at the time that despite everything seemingly coming together in his personal life, well, the countdown to the end of his professional career, well, it had begun. In March of 2017, the Los Angeles Police Department, they began investigating the claims made against Danny Masterson from the early 2000s. Now, the LAPD's investigation, it was prompted by journalist Tony Ortega's report of three women's accounts of sexual assault by Danny, which Tony had posted on his blog, The Underground Bunker. Now, by December of 2017, well, Danny, he was written off Netflix's The Ranch, where he played Jameson Rooster Bennett for 3 seasons. Now, all throughout, well, Danny, he would maintain his innocence, where he told US Weekly in a statement in December of 2017, "From day one, I have denied the outrageous allegations against me. Law enforcement investigated these claims more than 15 years ago and determined them to be without merit. In this country, you are presumed innocent until proven guilty. However, in the current climate, it seems as if you are presumed guilty the moment you are accused." Now, Masterson was officially charged with 3 counts of sexual assault by force or fear in June of 2020. Now, he was then arrested only to put $3.3 million up for bail, and he pleaded not guilty to the charges in January of 2021. Now, his trial began in October of 2022, but this first attempt would result in a hung jury, with the majority of jurors voting to acquit Danny on all 3 charges. Now, a retrial was set for April of 2023, with the major difference between the 2 trials, well, them having to do with the allegations of drugging. The end result was that Danny Masterson was found guilty on 2 of 3 counts, with 8 out of the 12 jurors voting to convict the actor of the 3rd count, as well before that charge ultimately resulted, well, in a hung jury. Now, Danny was immediately handcuffed and sent to jail following the conviction, where he will be remanded until his next hearing in August. Now, he faces the possibility of up to 30 years in prison. Now, reports, they started emanating out of the courtroom suggesting that Masterson's family, well, they had to fight back tears as the verdict came in, and at one point the judge, well, they asked his wife Bijou to maintain her composure as she began to sob. Now, according to sources who spoke with People magazine, well, Bijou was shocked and devastated by her husband's conviction and is also terrified at the prospect of his sentencing. Now, regardless, this same source says that she has no plans of leaving him. Now, as for where Danny is headed next, well, TMZ discovered that he's being held behind bars and kept in administrative segregation, that is for his own safety, while being housed in the same Los Angeles County Men's Central Jail that held O.J. Simpson and currently Suge Knight. Now, until we find out more about his sentencing, well, you can keep an eye on Famous News, where we keep you up to date on, well, shorter, more bite-sized news stories. You can follow us on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. It's got its own channel, Famous News. Be sure to check that out. My name is Michael McCrudden. Now, I do have a question for you guys before I leave you. Who is one entertainer you always had a funny feeling about before they wound up getting canceled? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in another video.
Fasten your seatbelts, folks, because this ride is about to get wild. Even if you're not a fan of mukbangs, you would have to be living under a rock if you didn't know the name Nikocado Avocado, known for crying and eating at the same time. I mean, I guess it happens to the best of us. But before we jump into the messy details, let's take a quick trip down memory lane. Nicholas Perry, better known as Nikocado Avocado, burst onto the YouTube scene with his tantalizing food mukbangs. I still don't understand the point of mukbangs. Regardless, his infectious personality and love for, well, noodles earned him a dedicated following of over 3.5 million on YouTube. But as they say, the bigger the fame, the bigger the drama. Not everyone loves Mr. Avocado. We will dive deep into this and more on this episode of Where Are They Now here on Before They Were Famous. My name is Katie. Be sure to give us a follow wherever you're watching this video. Now let's get into it. Perry was born in the Ukraine and adopted a short time after. He had learned about his adoption pretty early in life, which resulted him to often act out. He had stated in a previous interview that he was in and out of therapy since the age of 5 and prescribed antidepressants at the age of 7. What some people may not know is that Perry has more talents up his sleeve relieved than eating large amounts of noodles on camera. He in fact used to be a freelance violinist in New York City at the ripe age of 21 and had dreams of accompanying fellow musicians in the pit of a Broadway show. What's crazy is Nicholas originally posted YouTube videos about his vegan lifestyle, but 2016 is when things changed forever. Nikocado Avocado announced his breakup with veganism. Now, let's address the avocado-shaped elephant in the room. Nikocado has found himself at the center of many controversies, from emotional meltdowns to public feuds with other YouTubers. He's no stranger to stirring the pot, but through it all, one thing remains constant. He has a knack for capturing our attention. He has done many collaborations with other YouTube mukbangers, but almost every video comes with backlash from the collaborator. Take Stephanie Sue, for example, who posted a video titled "Why I'm Scared of Nikocado Avocado" after discussing feeling unsafe in her own home while he sent her harassing texts while in the same building. Now, I could go on and on about the remainder of dramatics in Perry's YouTube career, like accusing David Dobrik of stealing his DNA, calling himself disabled after breaking 3 ribs, and starting an OnlyFans for access to explicit photos and videos. But I want to get into the real issue at hand, Perry's well-being. It seems that his mental and physical health are decreasing video by video, and he is slowly deteriorating in front of us. It seems that his mental and physical health are decreasing video by video, and he is slowly deteriorating in front of us. Many commenters have tried to reach out, begging him to focus on his health instead of creating clickbaity videos for views. In one of his recent videos posted in March of this year, he addressed the comment section by stating he had lost 89 pounds. People could see a noticeable difference and applauded Nicholas for finally taking an interest in his health. But through all of this, he still continued to do mukbangs, which sadly resulted in him sobbing in a TikTok video near the end of April. He had gained 30 pounds back and was now weighing in at 352.8 pounds. That's it on this episode of Where Are They Now? Let us know who to feature next, and I'll see you in another episode.